Hello, I'm Travis,
And I'm Jay.
and this is Monday Coffee Show. This week on Monday Coffee Show, we're going to be talking about the upcoming Academy Awards. The very fancy, very hoity-toity, very tuxedo-filled night of looking at the best movies of the year. That comes with a very large asterisk because there's a lot of history behind that. But it's still kind of a fascinating thing to watch, whether you're into watching the celebrity of it all, who's hosting and like what's going on. Like I always think back to Hugh Jackman did a really good job a bunch of years ago hosting, and had looked like he had a lot of fun. It's a night where the majority of America says, I didn't even know that came out. What is that? What is that movie? So we're gonna talk a little bit about this, and we're gonna talk about who the nominees are, who we think might win based on our expertise, and etc. So we were just talking about like different patterns we were seeing in the nominations, and what patterns did you see?
Well, this year there are a lot of films that primarily feature African Americans as lead roles, and a lot of times, you'll see articles or you'll hear people talk about, it might not be marketable because whatever reasons. But I mean, I feel like that's been proven wrong, obviously, this past year, especially with movies like Hidden Figures, Moonlight, and Fences. And I kind of feel like for like Best Picture, I honestly feel like it's going to be between Hidden Figures, Moonlight, and La La Land. I feel like those are probably like the top three that are like the most talked about right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my understanding is that like that's already like taken care of, but those seem to be the ones that like people really, really attach themselves to. I've only seen one. I only saw Hidden Figures this year, which was very good and I think very deserving. And I think that the women who were in that did a phenomenal job, and the people who worked on that film. But I would like to see them, in the next week. As many as possible. I really wanted to see Moonlight. I really like, I believe it's pronounced Mahershala Ali. He was not the lead in Moonlight, is my understanding, having not seen it. But like he plays this like father figure character. He was also in Hidden Figures, and so he's just doubling down on everything. And he was also in Luke Cage as the bad guy, and I think he's a very fascinating actor, and I don't think I'd ever really seen him before, but he's had a very, very good year, and I hope that he sticks around because I think he's fascinating to watch. He's got a really great, like genuine but also kind of scary smile, like when he's playing that bad guy. It's
Something I was kind of shocked to see was La La Land. Like that being a musical, I was kind of surprised to see Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling in it, because I haven't at least seen like Emma Stone in like a musical role. She's always been more like the comedic relief or sometimes in a drama. But
that's certainly how she started.
Yeah, and then like with Ryan Gosling, it's like he usually plays either like the lead action role, like in that movie was Drive, I think.
Oh yeah.
Or he's just like in a comedy or something as like the eye candy.
Yeah, I was about to say he's the pretty one. I think that's interesting. For me, La La Land is fascinating because I don't think we've seen a large like film musical in a couple of years. The last one that I can think of that's not like an animated like kids movie, where we expect that, but like this like very live action, very like old Hollywood style musical. The last one I could think of was Nine, which was a really great film. Same director who did Chicago a bunch of years ago, and I thought that film was fascinating. But I'm curious to see with La La Land what the modern musical looks like, especially because that film landed. It was very popular. Like it did very, very well, and people are talking about it, and not just on not just the usual marketing campaign that makes it look like, hey, everybody's talking about this. Um, so I want to see that, and I want to see Moonlight still. Uh, and from what I've seen of La La Land, a lot of the cinematography and the editing looks really, really good. A lot of really cool, like, swooshy stuff and, like, great special effects from what I was seeing.
Yeah, speaking of editing, I think that's something that like people don't really take a look at. It's like you got to realize they've been shooting like months, and then people have to
Yeah.
chop up parts of that to make it into like a 1.5 hour movie.
Yeah,
So it is good that they have like the best editors category, but it's still like there's probably more that you can do. You could maybe it's a long shot, but you could do like best editing in this genre of film, and
Yeah.
you know.
There are like nothing with the same like level of celebrity, but there are like different industry, uh, like different parts of the industry like their own awards. Like editors have their own award, and writers have their own like award show and special effects, and like there's even like a stunts thing. But yeah, I mean the editors, like just from what I know from like having made a couple of stuff that looks more like a film, and like more like music videos, you have just so much stuff. What do you pick from? This is easy. We just record this. I cut what needs to be cut out, and then I add in the theme music, and this is very easy to edit, ish. But making narrative stuff is difficult, and is made up, like you end up with like hours of footage to pull through, and it's hard.
Yeah, like you said, it's like hard to decide like, oh, should this stay in, or would this resonate with the audience, or should we take it out?
Yeah.
Then it's like, I think people also don't realize that like it is a 1.5 hour movie, or sometimes 2 hours, but it's like actors probably had like 16-hour days every day.
Yeah.
So that's in itself is crazy too. It's like people complain about working like 7.5 hours at a regular job, and it's like, imagine working nonstop for 16 hours straight, and then it was doing it every day for like 2 months straight.
I've done days like that where I've been a production assistant on a film here in Philly, or a couple of years back I was in a web series at UArts, which if you can find it, it's great. I'm not going to give you too many clues because see if you can find that. It's fun. But when I was doing those days, it was 2-3 days in a row at the most, and I would be exhausted afterwards. So I cannot imagine what doing that for 3 to 6 weeks at a time is like. Yeah. Especially like crew, like talent is on there for a long time, but like the crew and the director of photography, sometimes the producers, like they're there like just the entire time, usually twice as long as talent is there, and it is an intense process making a film.
Yeah, because I don't think like some people say they want to be like actors. I'm like, it's not just reciting lines in front of a camera. Like, it's a lot more to it than that. And it's not like the movie you see is just all one take. Like, there are plenty of takes where things don't make it in, or you mess up, you gotta redo it.
Yeah.
Or someone's like, oh, you need to say this again, but say it with more of an upward inflection. And it's like small things like that take a while.
Or worse, you put all of your feeling and energy into a take, you're told like, oh, this is gonna be the long one, so like, we have to really make it good, and like, you'll get all the way to the end of the take, and then be like, oh, Jerry was standing in the wrong spot. Everybody reset. Got to do it entirely over again, and you'll, on some sets you'll end up doing the same shot. Like even if the camera changes position, you will end up doing that same scene. Sometimes a couple hundred times, and depending on how much coverage you're getting, and it's insane. Like from someone who's acted on that side before, like at some point you're like, where are we? What are we doing? And luckily it's someone's job to be like, oh, we're here. This is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna start. This is what you're gonna end.
Right. I think that's why it's a good thing to have awards like the Oscars because, while we may look at it like, oh, it's just entertainment, it's just trivial, like this is people's job, this is their livelihood, and I'm sure like a lot of them, as easy as it may seem, looking in from the outside, looking in, it's pretty difficult, especially if you're working on like 2 projects at the same time or more than 2 projects. It's like probably exhausting, mentally trying, just all around insanity.
Yeah, it's a wild world, and I mean, like, yeah, there's the rampant commercialism that comes with the filmmaking world, and that feeds a little bit of cynicism into stuff like the Oscars, where there's a large running opinion that I partially share that like the Academy Awards is not necessarily about rewarding and awarding people for hard work, and that is there, like that is a large part of it, but like there is also this sense of like it helps draw attention to films that most people wouldn't have heard of because they weren't the big commercial successes, they weren't the big summer blockbusters, but they were still things that are deserving of attention. So while I have that like little bit of cynicism, I do believe that like it is a good thing. Like I think it's an important thing to recognize good work.
Yeah, I feel like that's like even with a regular job. If you were there and you're just getting paid, it's like that's okay. But if you're working hard, you want some form of recognition, saying that we see that you're working hard, you're going above and beyond. So like this is your recognition. Like it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Regardless of the industry.
One cool thing is that Lin-Manuel Miranda, who has been a large figure this year, he is nominated for an Oscar for Best Song, which is very cool because he will have the Tonys that he has won from In the Heights and from Hamilton, which were very, very deserved, and he will hopefully have an Oscar. That would be really rad. I'm sure he's already won a Grammy. He's just going like full tilt. I think he's a person who's very deserving of recognition because he's one of my favorite public figures. He's really, really good at what he does. He's the sweetest person in the world from everything that I've ever seen from him. I follow him on Twitter. You should too. It's delightful. So we're curious to know, who do you think is going to win the Oscars? How do you feel about the Oscars? Will you be watching the Oscars? I may not. I don't have television in my house, so we'll see. But let us know your opinions. We're accessible by email, mondaycoffeeshow@gmail.com. You can always leave a comment, and it would be really nice for us if you would hit the subscribe button. It's a very nice button. It's a great way to help us out, and it's a great way to recognize the hard work that we're doing. But either way, enjoy your coffee. Have a good week.